President Biden traveling to Milwaukee, Wisconsin today to tout Bidenomics and the Inflation Reduction Act ahead of the legislation's one-year anniversary tomorrow. Biden's trip to Milwaukee also coming just over 1 week before the city is set to host the first Republican presidential primary debate. Meanwhile, a new Bloomberg survey of Americans earning at least $175,000 a year finds a quarter consider themselves, quote, very poor or poor. The salary puts workers in the top 10% of U.S. tax filers. Half of respondents with a net worth of $500,000 say they're just comfortable. This comes as inflation continues to rise, hitting 3.2% last month. So, Todd, the president, and by the way, a lot of the administration officials, they're fanning out across the country this week because in their mind, Bidenomics is this huge success.
In no world should anybody think that $175,000 in the current situation that we're in should be poor or very poor. The reason we feel that way is because of Bidenomics. If you are making that, I can understand how difficult it is. Let's say you make $175,000 as a family. Your wife's working too, your husband that's working. You're trying to pay for daycare. Daycare is through the roof. We're writing our check right now. I don't want to say, let's just cut to the chase, it's high. And then you have food and you have all this stuff. Your money's not going anywhere. And to think that, like, when you were going to college and thinking about your job, $175,000, I mean, I'd be rich. Like, I'd be making all this money. It doesn't go anywhere. And imagine if then you're living in a city. It really doesn't go anywhere. If your rent just to live in a building with walls and a roof is $5,000 a month. Again, the $175,000 is before tax. Obviously, when you chip away taxes in these really tough states like New York, California, Illinois, you're dwindling it down. You have nothing to save at the end of the day, and that's why people feel very poor and poor.
Yeah, Jessica, and we're looking at a graphic right now of food inflation. We got CPI last week, and I was really surprised at food inflation. I mean, white bread. This is kids' sandwiches. I mean, it was really stunning to me, and people are feeling that at the grocery store.
Yeah, I think when it comes to gas and food, that's a reality that people can't deny, right? The numbers can say whatever, but if people are paying more for gas and food, they're feeling that. So if the mainstay of the Bidenomics is this anti-inflation act, we now know to call it the Green Subsidized Expensive Energy Act. Goldman Sachs put it at $1.2 trillion in compliance. That's not helping American consumers. That's not helping taxpayers, right? You're driving up costs. You're going to start to see that in all sorts of industries. I think we see it in gas and food, and we're going to see more and more of it as that plan is implemented.
What's interesting, too, Todd, is that it's obvious that the administration wants us to focus on the last 12 months. When CPI hit 9.1%, that was a record, and that was the bad news, right? Well, now inflation's down.
But to your point, you can tell me all these numbers. When I go to the grocery store and this bag of groceries is double what it was 2 years ago, if not triple, that cost is not going down, even though all these numbers that Biden wants to show in the last 12 months are going down. And so until it makes its way down to the average American family, he's not going to be able to tout successes, even though, like you said, he's fanning people out across the country.
Well, and also, too, not to pivot too hard here, but over to technology, because, one of the things that he's done is he's been trying to get chip production made here in the United States. That's been a bumpy road. That is really not, I would not say that's been successful as of yet. Kowtowing to the Chinese, who still are, you've got this trade war now, this threat of a trade war between the U.S. and China.
Yeah,
that's him. That's the Biden administration.
Yeah, it's such a strange idea to want to sell all that's been happening, right? Industrial policy planning is very difficult. He's finding that out the hard way. And people just aren't experiencing this as a good economy. You can say it he can go around and say it and have all people work from say it. It's not how it feels to a lot of us as we go through our daily lives of daycare and groceries and gas and energy. It just doesn't seem to ring true.
Especially as, with all of these Fed rate hikes, I really suspect that we have not seen the final damage to the economy that's being done here, which was the point. They're trying to get inflation down to their target of 2%. Understood. We're not there. And I don't know that we're going to actually get there because of the labor market, which is to the point of your daycare issue. It's the labor. That's the services. That's where the inflation is still really high.
The people that are feeling the sense of excitement and the sense of success in Bidenomics is Wall Street. because they're the ones that are profiting on both the positives and the negative, because Wall Street always profits off the positive and the negative. I mean, talk to your guests. They figure out how to do it both ways. And Wall Street oftentimes is in bed with the Democratic world of Biden, and I think that's a change from 30 years ago when you thought money, you thought Republicans. Not anymore.
Depends, I guess, who the Wall Street executive is, but we'll leave it there. All right, well, you do want to tune everybody into the Fox News first Republican debate. That is going to be August 23rd, moderated by Martha McCallum and Brett Baer.